Thank you for being a part of the Crown Refs officiating community.
Hi, my name is 𝗞𝗲_H_𝘆 from Pittsburg, Indiana. Thanks for listening to Game Notes on Crown Refs TV. Serve the game.
All right, welcome back to the Crown Refs podcast. We are coming at you virtually live from the set of the legendary high school basketball movie named Hoosiers. If you don't know the movie Hoosiers, then send in your certification patch at the end of this episode or watch it because it's definitely a classic. I actually would like to take some referee clips from that movie. I'm sure there'd be refs bird dogging all over the court. But I want to welcome a really talented official from the Indiana area, Kenny Ludlow. Kenny, just do us a favor, give us a brief background on who you are, where you're from, your referee bio, how you connected with Crown Refs.
Yeah, so just a brief synopsis of how I got started. You know, I grew up playing ball. I played ball in high school and in college. After college, it kind of dissipated. Real life hit, you know, had to pay bills. So I had to get a job. You know, I stopped chasing, you know, there's for a while, even after college, you played in those pro-am leagues here and there, blah, blah, blah. Didn't lead to anything spectacular, you know, rolling ankles and injuring knees and that sort of thing, but the love for the game still was there. The fire to be on the court was still there, and you know, touch bases with a couple of buddies of mine that would ref the games that I was playing in. They were like, "Hey man, you should grab a whistle, join the dark side," and you know, I tried it and loved it, and immediately from day one was addicted, just as bad as playing. But yeah, the love, you know, I still have the urge to play. But this has been an avenue for me to stay involved in the game and in a way give back. You know, and as a secondary, make money at it. You know, something that I always dreamed about, you know, playing in the NBA or playing professionally somewhere. So this is my route, that I feel like is, I don't know, my calling, so to speak. Yeah, so I started about nine years ago. I didn't get licensed for the first year or so. So I've only been licensed about 7-8 years now, and broke into the college scene about 3 years ago. So high school, just Indiana based, central Indiana, starting to travel and branch out and going a little bit further for that. If it makes sense, obviously in Indiana, the pay for travel isn't there, so you kind of got to make things make sense, mileage and your time and that sort of thing. But college, you know, been to I can probably 10, 12, maybe even 13, 14 identification camps to try and get noticed and picked up into small college leagues. I've been to quite a few Division I identification clinics. But yeah, just the overall great experience. It is truly a passion. It has become almost a full-time job for myself. I'm blessed to have a job with a lot of flexibility to where I can travel and not have to be at a desk or have to be at a certain spot all the time, so I can be on the road or be at, some sort of camp or clinic to learn and grow my game. Yeah, that's a pretty brief synopsis for me.
Love it. And, tell me about how you connected with Crown Refs. When did you first notice the content? What stood out to you to where you want to, you began consuming it routinely?
Definitely. Some buddies turned me on to Crown Refs in the Indy area. A buddy of mine, Mark Sexton, and Josh Cook, and Sean West, and Riley Gelking, all those guys knew that Crown Refs existed, and they kind of added it. Every Monday or every Sunday, we kind of get together on a Zoom, and we talk about games and clips, and talk about how we handled certain situations. And somebody at one point threw out some of the stuff that you had posted that Crown Refs had put on the internet, and some podcasts and that they were doing with higher level officials. And next thing you know, I see one of my small college supervisors on there. You're having a meeting with Bo, and I thought that was cool. And just from then on, I've been checking in and seeing all the superb content that's on there. You have some pretty big names, some stellar guys that have been on there and given tremendous knowledge, and just passing on to us little guys, all the knowledge that they've experienced and that sort of thing. So yeah, just by word of mouth, in a sense.
Well, thank you to all of your Indiana boys that put you on. Appreciate that. Appreciate, you being a part of the community, and blessed to be able to give back, and, you find the information helpful. So as I watched your game, it stood out to me as soon as you stepped on the court. Okay, this guy has the look. He's got the appearance. He's in great shape. Looks fit. I saw you, raise your arm once or twice, like the first call or two, and I'm like, okay, what the hell am I going to write about this guy? I'm like, damn, this one's going to be a little bit more challenging than other IPRs. But then the ball went up, and I started gathering some more thoughts, and, nothing really stood out major for me. It was just a bunch of little pieces sprinkled in throughout the game. And I do think that if we can, take these little pieces, flip them, and add a little bit more on top of that it's going to make a big difference. So I was really impressed watching you work. So, so impressed too that I watched 2 games. Normally the IPR is just one game. I wound up and watched the second game because I wanted to make sure I gave you more than you expected. I probably could have stopped after the first game and sent you the report, and you probably thought it would have been great. But again, I just wanted to go a little bit above and beyond for you. So I hope, I hope you found a lot of value in the report.
Definitely a ton of value. That's what got me. I had seen 1 or 2 other guys that you did reports on, and I'm like, man, I've got to get involved in this. Yeah, I may work small college basketball, but if my goal is to do Division 1, like I need that little stuff. We talked on the phone once before, and I mentioned, going to the Division 1 clinics or going to all these other identification clinics. Those are great, and there's a lot of high profile names at those things where they can give you little nuggets here and there. But really, there's only really one other organization out there besides Crown Refs that offers, one-on-one type feedback like you're doing.
Great. Awesome. So, we can start however you like. If you have any plays that stand out or any of the notes that stand out, we can kind of, because I know we're probably not going to get to every timestamp, because I think I commented on over 50 plays from the 2 games. So let me just run through, the center positioning. Let's see. There were a few plays that you just adjusted too low. just remember when we go too low, sometimes we kind of walk into a stack. There are times in center where it's okay to go low. You obviously don't want to go on the end line. That's a little bit too deep, but in between the free throw and end line to position adjust accordingly for a play that you have to see that might be curling your way is okay. But a couple times you unnecessarily slid too low and you walked into a stack. So just kind of having a little bit more game awareness on the formation and the flow of the players, where they're going, what's their next move. You know, they have the ball on the right side, they're about to do a rip through dribble to the left. So, you know, just kind of having that feel for where the play is going. Maybe you could have added a few more a little bit more patience to a couple plays, and we'll look at those plays, I think. And then just maybe the excess of signals. Remember, I say this a lot, and it's because I think I'm a simplifier. You know, I know there's a great line Mike Kitts used, be a simplifier, not a complicator. I like to really simplify everything down. And that's what this report is about. It's about me breaking you down into your simplest form to make your job easier. And then this way we kind of scale back and we're able to grow a new foundation, a more solid foundation. So, you know, those are just 3 things that jumped off the page for me. How do you feel about, you know, my feedback and where do you want to take it from here?
You know, the things that I love that you talked about were all those that you just mentioned again, from the email to talking about them now. And for me, the part that I struggle with, you know, and you touched on it, and it's probably one of the critiques that I get, or the positive critiques that I look the part, I'm in great shape, and you know, I have a lot of the stuff that is hard, that is how do you
You can't teach. You have natural ability.
Yeah. So the other part, the caveat to that is, for me, is having the confidence. For me, not necessarily, and it might be just game experience. What it boils down to, having like you touched on, feel for the game, where that player is going to go. And I think that's my biggest struggle, is knowing that moment, when to go down, when to stay put, or even on play calling is, was that a foul? Can I have a slower whistle to have him play through it? And just gaining, I think we talked about it too, that pain tolerance, growing your pain tolerance from, he fouled him, but it really wasn't, we could live without a whistle on that one. So those are the things that, you know, you touched on that I struggle with. I don't even know if it can be taught, you know. I don't know if it just comes, would you say that it just comes natural through the progression of experience?
The answer is yes and yes. It can be taught, and it is natural. You know, some people just have the natural gift for it, whether they played their whole life. They just have a feel for the game, just have a feel for the flow of the game. But it can absolutely be taught. I've increased my feel for the game through officiating. So my feel for the game now is way better than it used to be when I started out. So that just comes with experience, repetition, and watching film. And it's good that we highlight these areas so we could bring them to the forefront, because now you're going to think about them more and more. Maybe, you know, you didn't know that this was on your dashboard, that these are the things that we should be fixing and tweaking. So now that it's out there, it's going to continue, it's going to improve for you. It's just going to happen. That's the way this works. You put that energy out there, what you need to improve at, and then subconsciously you start, you know, reverse engineering the outcome you want, you know?
Perfect.
Okay. So we could look at some game notes. Let's kind of scroll through some of the plays that, like I said, again, we're not going to get to all 50, but there's a lot of good ones in here. So let's make sure that we're looking at the good ones. So let's take a look at your plays. Yeah, this great production.
Yeah.
Makes the game fun to watch. They got a serious operation going on over here.
Yeah.
So just one note to start the game. And again, doesn't really mean anything, but it was a little odd to me that you took the back road, the long route in order to get to your jump ball. I find the mid-court line acts as our route to head right to the players. And then even right here, when you blow the whistle, it's like kind of very unofficial. Guys are looking over their shoulder to see where it is. Any reason why you take that route? Great toss, by the way. That's all that matters. The toss is what matters more than that.
Appreciate that. I'm not the best of tossers. It's definitely something I need to perfect. But the reason I tend to go that route is due to, I check with my U2 and then I come back and I come all the way over to that side of the court and check with my U1 and get a good eye contact with the table before I head into the center of the floor. Most of the time, guys are standing in the center, so I can't see the table's eyes. So that's kind of my thought process of going that direction.
Can we do all that but still walk straight in? Like, can we get the table's attention first, maybe before the players are out, then get your U1's attention, and then maybe step to the side, but just enter the game. Do everything you want, but just go back to the mid-court line and walk straight.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. Kind of reverse my checklist in a sense. Definitely.
Yeah, good. I'm noticing this as a fairly common play for leads. I've noticed it a while, but we don't stop at the B position. We just go from A to C. Think of it as it's a bus stop with 3 stops, and we got to stop at each one first. So we go from A, we're wide, let's at least go to B, even if it's for a second. Stop, see where the ball is, and then go over. I think us as officials overall, let me get this commercial. I think we over-rotate. I understand that they want 2 people on the ball, strong side, but that shouldn't make the crew vulnerable, and it shouldn't make us speed up our process and rush. I just think rushing is bad. Anytime we rush, whether it's a rotation, play calling, communication, it's just bad in officiating. So maybe just stop there for a second at the B position.
And that is your B position would be the closest lane line that you're coming from or you're leaving, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And I called this the lazy arm. And I do it too, where I just don't raise my arm high enough. And I just think on film it looks lazy because we can't raise our arm this high. It looks like we're lacking that effort sometimes, just rush. And I saw most of your out of bounds mechanics are super clean, but you have a tendency sometimes to go up a little too quick and not high enough. Okay, 12:42. I have 3 different notes, so a couple different layers to this play. Looks like we're gonna call an illegal screen. I think it was accidental that the offensive player kind of got in his way, took a bad route, kind of a careless route. Definitely bumped the player, knocked him off his route, made it a little bit more challenging to come contest that 3 right there. But I just think an overlying point that we should have on illegal screens is let's make sure the defender is putting in a little bit of an effort to get through the screen, because that's going to show more displacement. If they're not making an effort, sometimes it's just not going to be illegal because maybe they had an opportunity to make it an illegal screen. Had they continued to play the ball and play hard, then we would have saw that clear bump and the clear displacement. But sometimes they kind of give up and they don't push through. So keep that in mind. What did you think about this play?
It tripped my trigger because, the player, you're 100% correct. The defensive player wasn't making a lot of effort to get there. But it definitely tripped my trigger because it felt like he went towards the defender. And after I hit the whistle, you can see him throw his hands up and he came to me. He goes, "But ref, I was crashing." I'm like, crashing? I'm thinking in my head, crashing. When you say crashing, that means you're going towards the basket, and he's not going towards the basket at all in this play. So it made me feel like, okay, I'm right. Yeah, by the book, I'm probably right. But, when you bring up your point of view, players not giving effort, why should we reward that player with no effort? Same, similar. There's a lot of other plays where we don't typically reward any effort. But yeah, that was my thought.
I think if this defender actually busts through, he's going to get hip checked to the ground. There's going to be clear displacement if he's going hard. But again, he slows up. Maybe could we have passed on it? Probably could have. Did he get the shot off cleanly? I like your usage of the wave off there. It's always good to use the wave off on these plays where there's a shot in the air. It's just clear communication. I'd like a little bit stronger of a point there though, because during that time where you stopped the clock, waved off, and then pointed, it looked like you're just overthinking. It looked like you're still kind of processing. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, and one of the things I struggle with is slowing down, like we've talked about, just slowing down, being clear, and maybe even staying. I'm already leaning and walking away, and that just adds to the possible confusion.
So this is another interesting point, and I'm glad this happened, but I think this is something that we should discard, and I look at this as excess signaling, is when we're trying to explain a call to a player by using our hands. I feel that puts us in a public forum of explanation. Like now we're explaining it to the entire gym what he did. And I look at that as a way of selling, like overselling. I don't need to show you what you did, because guess what? I'm going to go report the foul in 1 second. And then that's going to let you know that what you did. You hit, you push, you blocked. It's okay. I don't need to convince you on the spot. So I don't mind you responding to this player, but I want it to be verbal. I don't want you to use, your arms to communicate with him. Like you don't have to, you could give him one line, but then you don't have to show him the hand. You agree with that?
Totally agreed. I've been critiqued on that before also, as fellow officials on the floor, when we get together during timeouts and we want to talk about a play, no motioning, no pointing and stuff like that, because all the eyes are on you when you're on the court, and you could, potentially throw yourself under the bus if a supervisor is looking at that and he doesn't agree, with what you called or whatever. Potentially there can be some issues.
Yeah, it's a form of demonstrating, and the coaches do that, and I call them on it. I don't allow them to demonstrate what the foul was. Ref, he's getting hit in his arm. My guy's getting pulled. Coach, use your words, please. Use your words. Stop talking with your hands. I have good ears. I don't allow them to demonstrate. So I guess it's a two-way street here. This is what we're doing. We're demonstrating, and we're selling them, overselling them on what the call is. Unnecessary. Just show strength by either not saying anything or giving him one good phrase and then keep it moving to the table, all about your business. And then I know it's a new signal. Well, it's not a new signal, but this is the new full-time approved NCAA men's player control and team control foul, where we now go behind the head. So I know that's probably new to you. How has that incorporation of the new signal been for you this year?
I'm hitting it about 50% of the time. It's a struggle because you really, on some plays you really want to sell it, and a good punch, and you get into that game mode, and potentially it's a huge call, and you're trying to overemphasize your signal, and it's been tough getting used to. But yeah, I think probably if I was to say I called 50 player controls, if that's the case, I'd probably put behind my head probably 10 times. Okay. It's tough to get used to.
Why do you feel the need to overemphasize your signals on a big play?
Well, because of the reaction that you get, either from the coaches, players, fans, etc. It's a type moment where people go nuts. I guess they go nuts either way you call it, or if you don't. But
how do I get you to stop thinking about them?
Well, For me, potentially, also it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I feel for me it boils down to I have to. My mindset is I have to sell the crap out of this, or nobody's going to believe that it's right.
Yeah, and that's not the way. I don't think that's the best strategy for you, because I don't think you need to sell anything. A guy like you, if you believe in yourself 100%, then everybody else will. But I can tell you're not 100% there yet, which is okay. I mean, we all lack confidence at times. I want to help you build it up to where it's your greatest strength, or one of your greatest strengths. But, we talk about mindset a lot. The refereeing has a lot to do with mindset. This is a psychological game with these coaches and players. And I just want to get you to the point where we don't have any of those voices in our head. When you're making a bang bang play in a big spot, you're not thinking about anyone except the two players that are involved in the play, and your call, your signal. So it's just lacking a fear of their reactions. When you said reaction, because you said I'm worrying about their reaction. Now you're playing defense right now. You're worrying about how they're going to respond to your call. Don't even worry about any of that. It's irrelevant. Just it's a mind game for you. It's a mind game for you. Just be in your own head. Don't worry about what your partners are calling. Don't worry about what the coach is telling you. Just try to go in with that kind of mindset, that clear head. Because once you start thinking that way, you don't ever consider a fan before you blow the whistle and do your punch signal or your behind the head signal. We're not thinking about them anymore.
Understood.
Interesting note here, and I'm glad that we hit this note, because I think it can help other people, is to space out your signals. So in a layered play where we have to do 2, 3, 4, 5 signals, should not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Should have that
Right.
cadence to it. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a couple times you're just rushing that process, stopping the clock. You're pointing the new direction while you're pointing to the designated spot, right? So we got 2 arms going on. Again, reducing excess, simplifying things, one thing at a time. Stop the clock, new direction, point to the spot, run down. Simple. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Once again, I think a lot of things that I do on the floor kind of tie into the confidence piece that we I think this will be a reoccurring issue. Um, just being sure, once that confidence, and there's been some plays that I'm more confident on that it's slower. Um, and since watching this game and reviewing the critique that you've given me has helped that in my most recent games.
Good. Tell me about how your experience has been on the court since undergoing this IPR surgery.
Definitely, yeah. Surgery most important, has been needed. Um, my experience since we've done this is everything has slowed down. Confidence has went up, and I've stopped worrying about the coaches or the players, what they think, and if they become an issue, it's we'll handle it as they come. But it's not I'm worried about them first and then calling the play later. I've kind of reversed that mindset.
Good. Good. Glad it's helped. Take me through this play at 11:43. I know we got some bumping going on with the big guys. Any context you can add to this play?
I thought live that his pivot was the other pivot, and first off, I shouldn't at that point at lead. My eyes shouldn't even be on the feet. and just trust my outside guys that they're going to pick up the travel, or pick up the feet in a potential travel. But for some reason on that play, my eyes picked up the wrong pivot, and I called that travel incorrectly after reviewing it.
So right here, before even the travel, did you say anything to these players?
I'm not. I don't recall.
So I don't think we missed a foul here, but as soon as I see two players bump, it's the meet and greet, right?
Mhm.
Bump, or hold, let go, easy, fellas, easy. So I just want to make sure that we're being proactive, right? So we had a hold, a little bump here, grab and let go. And now you're rotating over with them. That's good. Good position here. I mean, you might even travel the first time. The first one might even look, worse than that. But you said it correctly. That's a little too deep for us there to be looking at the feet. So let's try to let the outside officials handle that. Now, I know there are times where a lead is going to call a travel. There's no absolutes in this game. So even though we're told that's a good play calling guideline to allow the outside officials to handle that, there'll be times where the lead has the best look. I don't want to speak in absolutes.
On this particular positioning, on this, see, I guessed wrong. I went to the left. If the player, do we always want to err on taking a step down versus up in that scenario where I was stacked right behind?
Yeah, I would take a step down because you're the center. So I would rather you be a little lower than a little high.
Yeah.
So this is a position adjustment here because you're looking right at white 24's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So you still got time here, but again, this got to have the sense here that you need to create more space. Step down. I mean, you actually weren't stacked because the player moved, but you didn't know that was going to happen. So, and then we had a whistle here. Did you like the foul?
I think he crosses on his arm. Definitely, I think we had a triple whistle actually on that play.
Most times when we have a double whistle, I would think we have to believe the refs are right.
Yeah.
On those double whistles. So I know when I'm watching as a fan, anytime I maybe I don't see contact on the screen, but I know it's a double whistle, I'm like, okay, I'm sure that they saw something I didn't.
Yeah, and on that also, I got with my partner because he had the whistle also. I just wanted to verify that we had the same guy fouling. If I don't know, more of a verification that was the right call. I wasn't sure.
So I think this play at 10-10 is a good example of you just kind of needing a little bit more patience, because I think we kind of anticipated the whistle. Maybe not anticipated the play, but we anticipated the whistle. And these plays, there is a big lead up. It's like a little dramatic because anytime a player is about to catch the ball, but he's not looking in front of him, and now we know a defender is moving in, that's a heightened sense of awareness for us because it could potentially be a dangerous play. We could have a collision. I know you've seen plays like that where it's like guy gets, turns, and then boom, we have a colossal crash. So it's good to be anticipating what could happen here. But I just thought we blew the whistle a little too soon, didn't let it play out. What did you call a block here? Could we have had a travel first?
Yes, yeah, I did call a block.
Okay, so right here, it's like, all right, he doesn't know where he can't, he's getting a little nervous because he's not looking ahead of him, but that's what threw him off. And that's what made him off his feet. He was shook. He was scared.
And after reviewing that, if was it a foul? Probably, but did the foul cause a travel? We talked about it in the locker room after, and my partner had good feedback. He thought maybe don't go with a block here because he's really not blocking. you could probably go with the, the forearm chuck signal type, the two-hand chuck.
Yeah, I don't see illegal contact. It's all right. Just let this play out an extra second. Just add an extra second. You had great presentation to the table. One thing I want you to add is once you go hit your hips for the block, finish it with a point to the new direction. I'm going to pull up this other game if that's okay, unless there's something here you want to see.
Yeah, the lean, I tend to get caught on that once in a while and position adjust.
Let me pull that up still frame so they can see it. So I have a still frame here of you just kind of lean into the right. We shouldn't be leaning. That's a sign that we just need to move our feet. So don't move your head, just move your feet.
Yeah. Would you recommend going onto the floor? Because I don't know if I go down, I get better, or if I go high, how would you recommend repositioning on that particular, when you say move?
Sure. Let's look. I mean, if I had to guess, I would just say you're going to move to the direction that your head moved a step. So yeah, take a step up. I think on this play, we take a step up because I'm going to have a sense. Again, feel for the game. You're not going to take a step down here. Why do you think I would say that?
Because the players are down.
Yeah, I got blue 3 right here, who is in my spot. If he's not there, then yeah, I would slide down, but he's in my spot. So having that sense, knowing I got another body here, that space is blocked when we move north. But again, I saw 1 was kind of in your way. I mean, it's not a perfect science. No one said we're going to have a perfect look every time.
Yeah.
All right, player control foul coming up. Good. Oh, you wanted to punch there so bad.
Yeah.
You were getting ready. If this was last year, you would have punched the end line. But I saw what happened. You stopped the clock. You're getting ready to load up, and you're like, oh, this is a pointing year. And then you pointed. But notice your point was over the top, like you're throwing a baseball. Can we straighten out that point so nothing goes over the top?
Definitely. That's I've actually done that in the last couple games where it's almost, like you're out of bounds point. It's this boom, straight. And that, I got caught, like you said, in between. I was wanting to punch the crap out of it, and then I just came and it's like, okay.
Yeah. So the behind the head signal is just practice. It's just repetitions. I vary mine, but sometimes when I stop the clock with my right hand, I point with my right hand too, and I just go behind the head with my left. So it's right into right, and my left is going behind the head. Or sometimes it's right, boo boo, into the left point. Depends what side of the court I'm on, formation of players, all that kind of stuff. Okay, this is the coach management section of the podcast. I think there's a bunch of plays and sequences that we can look here, and I think it could help some officials out there. I know people struggle with when to initiate conversations with coaches, when to go play offense, when to insert yourself and go respond to a situation, right? So we're gonna go through these plays and we'll look at maybe what we could have done different. I want to add my perspective to it. So right now we have a coach who's having a conversation with a referee during a live ball. In your ear, he's in your space. Now you have an on-ball matchup, and he's talking to you. So like this game is too hard to referee while we're having a conversation or while we're listening to instructions, because I know that's what he's giving you. He's giving you instructions on what we need to look for or what we missed or what he's not getting. But I would this would be something I would remember, or I would say something to him in the moment. Coach, let me focus. Coach, let me concentrate here. I'll get over to you at the next dead ball. But he's probably been speaking for 10 seconds right now, right? So what is he saying to you? What's going on during that sequence?
He felt like he his players were getting pushed on when they had the ball on dribble drives and that sort of thing. You know, he just wanted us to be aware, like we weren't aware, you know, prior, but just overdoing it, you know.
So coach, you know, for the officials listening out there, coaches are going to say things to you during a live ball that we can't avoid. They're just going to say things. But if you notice what this coach did, it was sustained. He was continuously talking for at least 10 seconds. We're not going to allow that. After second 1 or 2, it's a coach. I need to focus. I'll be over at the next dead ball. Coach, not now, please. Right? So let's see. Okay.
So during that moment also, you can't really see it because my whistle's in my mouth, but I am yelling, stop reffing, stop reffing. And then a few plays later, see the assistant's up now talking, wanting to talk. I think on the next clip that you'll probably hit on, the assistant stands up and yells while I'm over there also. And I yell again, but I think the assistant is coaching, but he's so close to me, I can't bear, you know, he's screaming in my ear at his players, but it's distracting for sure.
Okay, so now the next inbound after the timeout, we have the coach again talking, right? Is he speaking again?
Not that I know of, not to me, no.
Disregard. 15-13, again, he's back. Now he's pointing in your ear. And again, you're responding back to him, and we just had a drive. So he straight up distracted you on that play, and you weren't 100% focused on the drive because you turned your head a little bit, right?
Correct.
This is what
that's probably where I was yelling at him to stop refereeing. Yeah.
But I don't want you to get to the point where you even need to yell, because I think if we address it sooner, then there's no need to add that extra oomph or power at the end. It's not like a coach, stop reffing. Soon as he says it, nail it. Because what we permit, we promote. So if we're allowing it, next thing you know, now he's getting louder because we haven't said anything. So we're green lighting him. So again, he's still talking. Okay, that's the same play. And again, you even stop and say something to him running up the court, right?
Yes.
What did you shout at him there?
Stop reffing. It was just a repeated stop.
Okay. One thing to keep in mind is it never really works out well in our favor when we get the last word. So maybe don't shout something at him when you're ready to leave town. You could say something to him if you're going to be there, because a lot of times what happens is they shout back at us when we're running down the court. Whereas if we would have just allowed them to say one more thing while we were there, then we run down the court and the conversation's over. But we get that last word in. Now we run down and call the foul. You know, so just keep that in mind. And you turned again across half court to say something again or look at him?
I think I just looked.
Okay. Now, again, this is so we had 2 interactions where the coach was talking in our ear. This is about to be possession number 3, consecutive in a row. Because context for the game is everything. So I'm glad we're looking at a sequence of plays and not just one. So now he has a new partner, right? So now he's doing the same exact thing to the new partner, having a live discussion during a live ball. Okay. Even if the conversation was cordial, it's like if one partner can address that, he's not going to do it to the next partner. Now, where was the opportunity that you had where you could have went up to him that I noted?
Was it on the dead ball? We had a dead ball timeout or media timeout or something.
Do you know what time that was?
Was that right after the first one?
No, it was an out of bounds play, but then he came over you and there was like a dead time of like 10 seconds where you could have said something to him.
It might have been a kickball or something.
Oh, okay. So right here, we have a kickball. Perfect. This is a perfect opportunity. He's right there. He's right in your personal space. Now is an opportunity to play offense. Coach, now I have an opportunity to listen to you. I'm very approachable if you have a question. now's a good time that I can answer it. But I can't answer you during a live ball. It's very distracting. Do you have a question about a play? And now we're playing offense. Now we are controlling the dialogue. Now we've asked him a question. He has to now answer that question. Now we can play off that.
Perfect.
But if we don't, now I have the assistant coming and talking to me. If we address the coach, head coach, the assistant now is not coming back up to you, right? And what is he talking about? Is he talking about what we're missing?
Yes. Yes.
I have no voice. I have no ears for that. There's no ears for an assistant to tell us what we're missing. The assistant can only speak to us if they're asking us questions and it's the right time. Now, I know they say like we don't talk to assistants. Obviously, we're going to speak to assistants, but we're not going to listen to assistants' complaints. Or I should say, we're not going to allow them to complain out loud. We can, if they call us over and they speak respectfully, yes, we're going to listen to their concerns.
15:32 remaining.
So didn't you think that was just a good opportunity where you could have played offense on the coach there, kind of get us off out of our space?
Yes, absolutely. And the one thing we touch on it being a younger official is finding and knowing that time and having the confidence to know what to say. He's obviously been around a while as a coach and being nervous about putting myself in a box of it, what if I say something that he can use against me, that sort of thing. So I think experience and confidence play into how I can handle that situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a fear of what he's going to say to you or that you're going to disappoint him, or we gotta break that. That's one thing that we have to break is and again, this takes time, this takes experience, this takes research on our part in order to be better communicators and knowing what to say and when to say it and who to say it to is all things that are very difficult to learn. And that's why we're here right now. And that's why I put out a lot of coaching management content. I've done a lot of games and I've paid attention and I've watched, I've observed the coaches, how they speak, how they react, what they respond to, so I just feel like I have a really large sample size. I want to help you get more confident and get in the right mindset, because I think you're making it a little harder than it is. You're adding a little too much pressure on yourself, I feel.
Definitely. And, another thing that I think about also is, I want to say something, but what I'm going to say, is that going to amplify the situation, or is it going to decrease not necessarily decrease, but is it going to minimize the situation? Yeah, diffuse.
Well, that's just a matter of being confident in your words.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to amplify, but you shouldn't have a fear of what you say is going to amplify him. We're always in diffuse mode. So we always want to respond and diffuse and bring down the situation. Sometimes we have to put our foot on the pedal a little bit though first before we can slow down. And by what I mean by that is insert ourselves and respond to the coach effectively with authority.
Side got off to a 9-0 lead. They're currently up by 4. Rangers 12, Cardinals 8.
Okay, now we're going over to the assistant and listening to him. So right now it's just all defense. It's all you guys say whatever you want. We'll listen. We're listening, which gives us leverage. It's like, okay, coach, I respect what you said. I listened to you. Now you got to do me a favor. Right? So I want you to, there's a line for you. After you've listened, coach, I heard you out. I appreciate that. I respect you. Do me a favor. Now you have to do me a favor. Please control your bench, or please stop talking to me during the live ball, because I would never speak to you in the middle of your timeout when you're talking to your coaches. I would never interrupt you. I would never try to distract you. That's how I'm always playing it. Everything is a two-way street with me. It's two-way respect. I would never I would never do that to you. That is my leverage in why I'm going to approach you and tell you you can't do that to me. Or you can, but I have a toolbox that I might have to go into.
Yeah.
And I mean rules, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on a second. You know, so I want your game management, your communication to match your appearance, your play calling, your great signaling. Like once we can match that, it's over. Sky's the limit. You have everything. You know, it's just going to take a little bit more reps. Let me ask you, how often do you work games, not college games, year round?
How often do I work non-college games?
How many basketball games do you referee a year?
I would say
Non-pandemic year.
last year I was in the high 90s.
Not enough. I don't think it's enough. And you might be higher than most, but you know, 90 games, just think of that year round. You know, that's not a ton of reps. It's not a ton of reps. And the year-round work is what allows us to really get that experience, a wide range of experience. You go work AAU tournaments with coaches that are way worse than the coaches that you're going to deal with. And you deal with way more extreme conditions. So it makes you more versatile. It opens you up to be able to ref any kind of game or deal with any kind of coach, you know? So, and I'm not comparing or contrasting, and I haven't done my numbers. I haven't kept track of my games for a while, but I remember I put this post out, you know, in 2013, 2014, I did over 1,300 games total. Now it's with 3 sports. So I would say I did maybe 1,000, 1,100 basketball games in those 2 years. And each year it's in the hundreds, you know, 200 to 400 games a year, probably. Cause I'm working year round. I'm, you know, in the summer, in the spring, AAU, fall. Now, if you don't have the availability, that's another thing. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But that's another major growth opportunity for you, is to try to work more games. Then you get to go practice, and you get to play with all of these things. You get to go experiment a little bit more. It's a little bit less risk, a little low risk, less stressful games. Even though they can get more stressful, they don't mean as much as our regular season games.
Yeah.
Be a little more creative and experiment. What else you got for me?
But I think we touched on all the important stuff for sure that I was questioning, you know, positioning and, you know, demonstrating confidence and being patient and slowing down and that sort of thing. So.
Another great thing that stands out for you is, I think, your humility is way more than your confidence and your you know, your performance on the court. Like, you seem way more humble than talented, which is a great thing that's going to scale up for you. You know, you have a great attitude. We've been breaking down your game. Now, I know we're doing it to help you get better, but you still have to have a little bit thick skin and, you know, not get upset, and be humble and be open-minded, and try to really let the information settle and apply it as much as you can. So your passion is very evident, and your humility is evident too. So another great pillar for you as an official.
Thank you.
And I'm glad this service, you know, helped you. I want to continue to help you in the future. Continue to please send me games, as I want to watch you evolve and grow as a referee. It's exciting for me. So please keep in touch that way. If you ever have any other questions about plays, situations that come up in your games, feel free to reach out. I really appreciate you and all of your support.
Definitely. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I know this is a benefit to both of us in different avenues, but you know, you don't have to necessarily. You know, you didn't have to ask for the second game. I appreciate you going above and beyond what you needed to do, and that means a lot, and that says a lot to your character and who you are you touched on my humility that adds to you and to your brand. So I definitely appreciate that.
And I appreciate the audience checking in and all of their support. Thanks for listening to another episode of Game Notes on the Crown Refs podcast, the basketball show for referees. Serve the game.
Thank you for listening to the Crown Refs podcast. Serve the game.